For many years, I have had a dilemma in my teaching, and that is, what do you do when horses are so itchy that they can't tolerate harmony or passive leadership? They only want to be itched. I dealt with this by withholding it until they could think about something else and then giving them what they wanted. And this worked, but there was some frustration for horses around this, and I was never fully happy with my solution. This recent trip to Portugal, I came up with a new solution, and I'm so excited to share it with you. The donkeys helped me find this solution. They are fairly settled, and there isn't a lot expected of them, so they're fine being itched and itched and itched and scratched and stroked, and there's really no problem with this. But I do realize there's a concern they have that it won't go on long enough, or it won't be good enough. And when they're concerned, they tend to be obsessive about it. And if you stop, they push into you. It's very gentle, so it's a lovely, lovely partner to experiment with and see if I could find a better solution with this. So this is Minnie, the donkey, and mostly what you're going to see here is me making mistakes with my timing, because I had a theory, but I wasn't able to fully carry it out at first. Here, where she's focused on something else and we have a moment of harmony, I could have gone back to stroking or scratching sooner, but I was a little bit late. If I wait until Minnie provokes me to scratch her, I keep feeding the concern that it will never be enough. And I would rather that horses and donkeys not associate me with that kind of concern. So here I'm getting it wrong over and over and over again. What I'm trying to do is take a pause at the right time and then go back to scratching before Minnie has to ask me. Now here, for the first time, I get the timing right. I go back to scratching her as her ear flicks to the outside and she's listening to something interesting. Here again, she looks down the road and I think we can have harmony for a moment. But the key is, can I go back to scratching before that harmony feels overwhelming to her? I practiced this over many days with the donkeys, and I found it got easier and easier and better. There was more and more pauses where harmony was possible, and their concern about the scratching became less and less and less. The key was the timing, getting ahead of the need for them to ask. This is Comelot. I had figured it out with the donkeys. Now I wanted to see if I could figure the same thing out with a horse. I'd heard that Comelot tended to be obsessive about his need for scratches, so we're going to give it a try here. He's not quite as emotionally settled as the donkeys. So for that reason, I'm going to alter the pattern a little bit. Instead of going to flow and harmony, I'm going to walk around him, and then I'm going to come back to the scratching before he has a chance to push into me or tell me that it's not enough. When I walk around him, it acts as a little bit of a distraction, so that hopefully he can think about something else for a moment, something other than his concern about not enough scratching. I'm going to repeat this, scratch him a little bit, and then walk around him. And what you're going to see is he gets less frozen in his mind. He starts to think about other things. If he can get less concerned about the scratching, while still enjoying it in pieces like this, his association with me also becomes less concerned. I'm really happy with this solution because I like to scratch my horses and make them feel better, but I don't want to do it in a way that causes them to associate me with concern. Here I am back at the donkeys. They were the very best teachers for this. But this time I have 2 donkeys and a horse, Minnie, Jakob, and Jack. And I only have 2 hands. So you're going to see me trying to fill everybody's need for itching all at the same time. I don't necessarily do a perfect job of it, but what you're going to see is that there really isn't an opportunity very often for harmony. I have to keep moving, otherwise one of the 3 corrects me. To get the timing right, you really have to find a moment for harmony when their focus is elsewhere, where you can match them and harmonize them without raising concern. I'm actually very pleased during this section of the filming because Jack often chases the donkeys out when he wants all the scratching. And I'm really pleased that he feels like there's enough for all 3 in this situation. My job is to be in the right place at the right time to fill everybody's needs, or to move somewhere else where my presence isn't raising a concern about a need that's not filled. Now here, Jakob gets a little bit concerned that maybe he should have more of the scratching. And it's really important that I walk past this. That kind of provocative action from him is uncomfortable for me, and it shows me an unreasonable amount of concern from him. My job, though, is to go back and continue scratching him before he needs to be provocative again. If I can keep filling the needs before the donkeys or the horses need to push on me to provoke the itching, I find that the concern about the itching goes down and softens. And with enough repetitions, they start to enjoy the harmony and the peace just as much as the itching. You just have to get the timing right in order for their concern to settle and their enjoyment of peace and harmony to increase. There you see I got a really lovely moment of flow with Minnie and Jakob and Jack. And then I went back to the scratching before anybody needed to push on me or turn into me or tell me it wasn't enough. It's a little harder with more than one, but the theory is the same. The better your timing gets, the less concern they feel, and the more flow and harmony you can have. So how do you end? Ideally, you find one of those moments where flow and harmony is easy, because that's what you want them to remember, a lack of concern with your company. And then you simply walk away. Well, that is the predominant emotion. I was so pleased to see all 3 of them settle in together. No chasing, no pushing, no concern, just satisfaction. So that is my new theory about timing around itching. I hope it's helpful.